Peace, y'all. Peace. This is Jamie. Jamie Star. How y'all doing? Okay. So, a lot of the times, y'all, we don't be out of character. I want y'all to understand this, okay? People be saying, oh, I just got out of character. Somebody just made me get out of pocket. I just got out of character. We don't get out of character. We be operating out of unhealed trauma and, yeah, we be operating from unhealed trauma and unresolved issues, you know, and a lot four. Thank you, Spirit. And a lot of the times we don't want to recognize it because it's easier not to. Okay. It's one of those things I just said because literally I'm hearing a conversation basically about men basically saying this is so crazy that I'm hearing this. It's like a full blown conversation, almost like um y'all, this is so freaking cool. My life is so dope. But and look at the poppies. Come on, Spirit. All right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna stay focused. That might be significant to somebody. Poppies, they're amazing. They're extremely high vibrational. They're healing. They're protective. Protective 132. They're 133. They're protective plants. Hard to find in season, but that's a sign for somebody. I split the deck open randomly to two different spots, and I got hold on and a tall poppy, and then the chamber of power. And then the card I was going to talk about was the destiny life. So sometimes we are operating out of unresolved, trauma, and a lot of the times, like I said, we don't know it. And this is I want y'all to like process this, like I'm speaking on like the level of like Donald Trump. I don't even want to say Donald Trump. I want it to be like one of those things where it's like anybody who hasn't healed their inner child, right? Technically is still walking around as that version of themselves no matter what age they are, okay? And it's bad because like I said, they could end up the president. Could you imagine a 5-year-old having a tantrum and having to make a decision that affects other people's lives? It happens every day. It happens every day. And if you're one of those people who's not wanting to be in a circumstance where you're walking into spaces, throwing yourself on others, this might be a video for you. So sit back for a second, chillax, listen, get a pen and piece of paper. I'm gonna tell you some ish. You can apply it, not apply it. It's up to you. All right. If you processing trauma, all right, as far as your inner child is concerned, a lot of the times we be wanting to deal with stuff. That's why I kept on here. I just want to deal with this. I can get it over with. I want to fix it. You're nothing to fix or get over with. That version of you that you're annoyed that you have to face is still part of you, and you let out of it, and you want it. You know what I mean? That shadow, you need it. It's necessary for you to be in a balanced space with it. You learned something from it. It kept you. It was a keeper for you. It was a mess, but it was a keeper. But it is what it is, right? And if we're recognizing and we're being honest and we're being authentic, that was a part of me too. You know what I'm saying? All of my so-called, I had karmic days. I had Jezebel days. I had days. I've been in the streets out here. Okay, not janky. Okay, not too crazy. Not too much on me. All right, but still, right? The reality of it is that if I stop processing that, then the little girl version of me that wasn't heard, wasn't seen, is now seen. And that's when you get to basically unfold the truth in your identity. It's not always just going back to like an ancestry.com. Sometimes it's just sitting with self in the mirror, recognizing, speaking, okay? And not thinking in fear. Because a lot of the times, y'all hear us I've been seeing this a lot. Oh, she's spiritual, right? Yeah, I be thinking us spiritualists. Bump. Okay, excuse me. My apologies, Mosai. My apologies, spirit team. I ask that y'all cover me, cover my flesh, hold my mule. Get me together. We got to be better. 505. Yeah, we got to do better. Okay. Because it's important, right? And you don't know who's listening to your message. No quotation marks on the spiritual processes. People who are religious, it's a conversation that is basically being had widely, are feeling like, this is something new. It's a new fad. It's now popular to be spiritual because it's now been placed in the algorithm. Yet a lot of people are unaware because they don't study that religion isn't something that is old as you believe. All right. And it's not anything against it. I believe that there's space for all gods because there's more than one. Not in a sense of one is better than the other one, in a sense of it's a fact and it's the truth. And if you studied and if you tapped into yourself, you would gain more facts, more truths. You have more opportunities, 606, to be able to be at different rates of understandings with yourself. And you wouldn't have to be so limited. A lot of people feel like that's a fallacy for me to say what I needed to say it because that's where the quotation marks came from. That's where the agitation came from. And I'm really, really, really working on being within my spirit and not reacting, responding, or tapping into negative or low vibrational energy. So to my sign, cover me, please, and be with me. I thank you. All right. We have the opportunity to utilize and actually create tools of our own making when it comes to dealing with our inner child. It's our inner child. You want to be no imagination. You want to use your imagination. You want to use your third eye. You want to create in this spaces. You want to make a mess. My baby was like a really, really tiny kid. I have a video. I might share it. She was like, she was janky. She got caught up by her dad. She was sitting. She said, make a mess. And she was in there just tearing shit up just because she wanted to. It's like that. I can't tell you that that's going to do something for you. Yet, for you, it could possibly do something for you. Drawing outside of the lines, getting outside of the limitations that we're taught to be in as kids. I used to get told, don't write sideways, but that was something that was spiritual and I didn't know that, right? There's a lot of things that we've been programmed and conditioned. So sometimes it's as simple as rewriting, unlearning, detaching, isolating the condition, you know, doing some construction work, a lot of the times it's full blown demolition, going under construction, but not being in a rate where you lose yourself because you still want to live in the process of you healing because it's not something that you'll do one time, but it's not as complicated as a lot of people are making it. It's just you loving yourself. I love me enough to say, hey, I'm going to check that with spirit. I love me enough to say, hey, I want to be inclined on whether or not this is what's best for me. I love me enough to say, I know that I normally would respond in this rate because I've always felt this way, 818. However, I'm no longer in this space. I'm going to, take it up with, you know? So it's like you have an opportunity to do that. Allow yourself to be at a specific rate with you where you see the thing. So if I see intimidation, I might sit with it and I might allow myself to get familiar with that energy. You're communicating with it, communicate with whatever it is. If I have unworthiness, there's a rate of communication that you could live at in that space. It's extremely deep to go that far with it. However, being present and doing whatever it is you feel called to do sometimes is the best thing that you could do, and you don't always need steps. You get to be free. Okay, we didn't always have social media. It's always been documentations of things that we could do. However, you don't always have to feel like what you're doing is wrong. What you're called to is what's best. Just get in communication with your team, your spirit, with your oversoul, with your higher self. All right. If you don't know what all of this shit means, sit still with yourself and say, hey, I don't know what all of this shit means, but I would like to connect myself and I want to heal my inner child. Where do I start? And just keep on coming back until you figure it out because you're worth it. You want to be at this rate with yourself and do it. All right. I love y'all. I hope that this message adds something to whatever it is that's being perceived as far as the inner child is concerned, but also allows you to regulate within yourself. And you can do that. All right. Peace.